Smite fans, it's Gormizer. I've got Fineokay sitting by here, and I'm really excited for this, mainly because I feel like your team, there's some fun stuff to chat about, and I think more importantly is for you coming into Smite 2 up front, you've now played two roles competitively, and I'm kind of curious, going back, I guess, over to solo lane, what's it like for you? What's the experience been like?
It's been pretty fun. I was excited to play support, to be honest. Like
Mhm.
to to be frank, like I didn't know how much I actually wanted to play competitive if I was just kind of playing solo and
Yeah.
doing the same old, same old. I kind of wanted to mix it up and try and have some fun, learn something. I felt like it would give me some more motivation to learn a new role, like actually grind the game a little bit. Because I kind of feel like, maybe I could have maybe hit my limit in solo, and sometimes it's nice to get a fresh perspective on things. But most importantly, I just wanted to play with my friends, And since we already had a team going and Max left, we kind of needed to fill in that spot, and we tried to think about like what possibly could be the best way to assemble our team. So we decided that Wooney or Baskin would probably be our best mid. Daniel actually wanted to play ADC for some reason. I don't
Oh.
know why, but he wanted to play that role. So it kind of worked out that way, and we just kind of needed me to play solo, just kind of how the team assembled it. So, but I'm fine with that
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, sometimes you may not have fun like playing ranked and stuff like that, but competitive is always fun as long
Mhm.
as you have like a good team. Not even good like gameplay wise, but just like fun to be around. So that's what we have, and that's why I decided it'd be worth it to maybe put away some of the dislikes I have for solo lane and just play it for the squad.
Yeah, just kind of shoulder up, push forward, and like you
Yeah,
said, maybe
yeah.
have fun. Which I guess kind of relates to this next question, which is really how is the team doing? I think Swiss was like a much different path than I think a lot of you maybe expected. Honestly, than we expected. But I know the first couple of weeks were a lot harder matchups than the last few
Mhm.
weeks. So I was kind of curious, like going towards playoffs with the future you guys have. How's everybody feeling?
Oh, we're feeling pretty good. We finally we barely scrimmed at all before even like our first few matchups, and they were against good teams, like you said. They were against Mike's team and the Haddix team as well, and we like had leads in every single one of those games. We threw at a fire giant, and I think all four of those games. And I think that just came down to practice. Like we literally hadn't like gone to a fire giant in a like a simulation type game, in a scrim. So we had no idea how much damage it did. We didn't know how to play around it, and I think we just screwed up it because of that. So we're feeling a lot more confident. I think also some of our players hadn't even. I kid you not, some of our players hadn't even played a single game of Smite 2 before they played in some of those competitive games because some people are like just like I think Winnie was in Korea for over like a month and a half,
Yeah.
and some people they have real jobs now. Like Daniel works I think like a 7 to 5 or something, and he lives in California, so the time zone difference has been rough for scrims as well. But
Mhm.
we finally got a decent amount of scrims under our belt. We're getting some confidence and learning, and yeah, so yeah. Even though the Swiss didn't go, I bet a lot of people expected us to be like top 3 right away.
Mhm.
I think we're getting to where we need to be.
Yeah, it's better to make the changes, progressively over time, right? And get to that point
Yeah.
now, really, you need to hit your stride and playoffs when
Hmm.
it's the bigger deal. I'm curious though, because of some of those other teams, and we've talked about it, like Team Name, but with 5Ms, as you had mentioned, like Mike's team, the Cowabunga squad. There's a lot of really strong rosters in NA, period, just because of I guess like the history of the SPL and all that. So are there any
Yeah.
that you're like looking out for that you're like, ooh, those guys are gonna be a problem?
Honestly, not trying to be PM, but I don't really think any of them are good besides Cowabunga. I think that's kind of the only team that I think is like really on their in their stride and
Mhm.
everything. They've been playing together for like all year, so it makes sense. But yeah, I think Mike's team is pretty good as well. I think Cowabunga is just kind of like in a tier on their own, and I think some of the EU teams are pretty good as well. But yeah, I mean, not saying that like they're just going to be easy wins or anything like that,
Yeah.
but as long as we bring our A game, I think we can beat any team.
And I know you had mentioned, like, well, first off, right here, bringing your A game, but also like scrims being a little hard to come by. That's something Cherry had mentioned when I talked to him as well. And
Yeah.
I'm curious though, how much, like, not only that, but then also playing, during an alpha. Like, I know you've had some positive reception. Like there's a lot of changes that are happening all the time, so things
Mhm.
are getting nerfed ideally and in the right time frame and
Yeah.
things like that. But what's it like when everything's just changing so rapid pace like that?
It's tough, especially like I said, for people like I have people on my team that have 9 to 5s now or whatever. So like they're not going to be sitting there checking the Smite updates,
Mhm.
all the time. Like maybe I can because I still this is like my full time job. But um, yeah, I think it's fun. I think it makes it really fun because it just keeps things super fresh. And I think there's some positives and negatives. The freshness aspect of it is really cool. Maybe, like characters that weren't in the like in past years, there might have been a character that hadn't been played all year,
Mhm.
but all of a sudden like they can be like Susano was really broken a few weeks ago and now he's not even playable really. And that can bring gods in and out. But there are some negatives as well. I think maybe like it doesn't allow certain things to like sit for a little bit and people don't realize like I think it takes a few days for people to even realize that a character isn't good anymore. I think a good example of that is like Herc hasn't even really been played at all, but people think he's broken. I think he's unplayable really. So there's some like positives and negatives,
Yeah.
but overall, it's an alpha. It just comes with the territory, and I've been enjoying it. I think the competitive part of it has been fun.
Yeah, it's I refer to it as like just keeping things spicy, right? It's always given a
Yeah,
little bit new flavor one way or another. Like suddenly Zeus being just absolutely busted for a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Like yeah, the way that it's gone up and down has been fun to watch as much as I'm sure it's been fun to play.
Hmm.
Uh, for your role, and I guess you could maybe answer this for both if you really, really wanted to, but realistically, maybe especially because you're transitioning back to solo, is there somebody that you maybe look at in that lane as just a problem to deal with that you know is going to be a tougher lane than maybe some of the others?
Um, obviously I think like Sot and Haddix are really good. I don't think I kind of see the role like maybe in years past I always looked at the role like, oh, I just want to play off my lane, win my lane, and like I'll carry the game or something.
Mhm.
But nowadays I don't know. I take like sort of a different approach, especially now that I've played support for a little bit, and I've just been off rolling a ton. Um, I kind of see it a little bit differently, and I kind of don't even care about winning my lane. I actually think it's not even that important. Um, so as far as like laning against certain people, yeah, there's good players, but
Mhm.
I'm worried about the team. I'm worried about the game.
You're not. It's actually interesting because that's not the first solo lane opinion where I've heard like, you know what? Yeah, even if I lose, like I can get bodied in lane. It doesn't matter if I'm making better rotations than the rest of the team's winning,
Yeah,
and I feel
it's
like
it's
that's kind
really
of where it's
easy.
adjusted.
It's really easy right now because of all the teleporters. You can
Hmm.
just out map play people. Like you could probably even you get soloed wave two. You get solo wave two, you get your blues invaded, all this, and then you could just make one better rotation, and you could win the game off it. So, yeah, I think that's just probably more important right now.
That's now I need to know, and that's good info for me. Now I know. Keep my eyes on the mini map. I keep getting caught out, whether I'm playing or honestly even when I'm casting. Like the amount of times the solo laner appears, like you said, it's kind
Yeah,
of through the roof right now than compared to
yeah,
what
yeah.
we've been used to in the past. So it's really fun. The last
Mhm.
question that I've got prepared for you, man. If you end up qualifying to Vegas, not just playoffs, but even further beyond, outside of the Smite thing, and maybe ideally in a PG-13 way to describe it, but is there anything else that you're like super excited for? Is it hitting the casinos, going down the strip? Like, what else would you want to do while you're in Vegas?
I mean, I don't know much about Vegas apart from the gambling, of course, and
Mhm.
I'm a big poker player, so I would definitely want to do
Find
that.
you at the
But I've
tables.
always, yeah, yeah, I think it would be cool to do that, of course, but I got to do a little bit of research if we make it and figure out some stuff to see. And, I mean, the area is cool. I know there's like, I mean, Grand Canyon's not too far of a drive, right? And then
Yeah.
there's like, there's a place my parents visited that was so beautiful. I forget the name of it, but that was also nearby. So maybe I'll do a little research if we make it and check out some of the stuff. But also, actually, probably the most important thing is if there's a lot of people there, a lot of friends and stuff, just hanging out, getting to
Mhm.
see people, some fans that, maybe from last Worlds or even Worlds before that. It'd be cool to see them as well. So yeah, a little bit of all of those things.
Hell yeah. I mean, it sounds like ideally, again, making it there, it'll be a great time for everybody involved. I'm
Yeah,
excited to watch you. Of course, I'm sure a lot of fans out there are excited to see your name, not just back in solo lane, but really just in the game, no matter what. So thanks for your time, man. And
of
then
course.
good luck in playoffs.
Thank you.